The second song on the album has a feature on it, Homeboy. So it wasn't recorded in the same space, but we wanted to make sure that it sounds like they were recorded in the same space. So the way I've mixed Ruben's part versus Homeboy's part is slightly different. Usually if it was two artists in the same room, same recording, same mic and everything, I would use a very similar vocal chain for both. But in this case, we had to get a bit creative, and we actually started with the mix for Ruben's vocals. Then Homeboys was sent through, and there was already a mix applied to it. So we tweaked that a little bit, and then we actually tweaked Ruben's vocals a bit more as well to sort of match it. So Arad Kian made this beat, and the main thing that I was trying to go for was that FL Studio clipping sound. All his beats that he sends and the demos, it already has that sound. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just something we have to recreate. So I use clippers, the same as what I used in the previous song, but not as full on. Again, this is just sort of crushing it a little bit and giving it that FL clipping sort of sound. So the drums all together sound like this. Nothing too exciting going on in terms of how the drums are mixed. It's all just EQ, notching out frequencies, soothe on certain sections to just make it a bit smoother, and that's about it. Then we've got the basses. They're both pretty much sub basses, so we didn't have to do too much in terms of compression or side chaining. We still did the soothe side chaining trick, but it wasn't too much of an issue because it's very long sustained notes, so it's not eating up too much headroom or anything. If anything, it means I could push it a little bit more, so I saturated it a lot more, just sort of made it a bit more, I guess, just a bit more felt and yeah, a bit more felt rather than heard. So you can really hear the difference when I turn everything off and on. So this is without. And then with. So the drums and the bass is all very tight sounding, and especially with the drums, a lot of transients. But with the instruments, it's there's a few plucky sort of sounds and then a lot of spacey reverb sort of sounds. So The main plugin I used on a few of the different instruments was Murder Melodies. So this is basically just doing a few things. Heat, which is like a warm saturation. Then we've got ice, which is like an icy reverb, and then spreading it out a bit. That's what's being done to this sound. And then we've got the same plugin, slightly different settings on this loop. This time is using more of the dimension, so it's giving it that a bit more of like a front to back depth. And altogether, the beat sounds like this. With Ruben's vocals, as you can see, everything is sort of all over the place. We nudged pretty much all the vocals separately, just because a very small nudge of, moving it a tiny bit can make a massive difference. I kept the same vocal chain from the previous song, but obviously tweaked a few things, because even though he's using the same mic, it's the same artist, same room and everything, just the fact that he's singing in a different key, or his voice just could have been different that day, we still have to tweak the vocal chain a little bit. So we tweaked it, and also I didn't want as much of that heavy sound that we had in the previous song. We wanted a slightly bit softer sound. So the main difference is this chorus that's been applied to it. That's kind of spreading it out a little bit and giving it a bit more depth. We've also got this channel plugin that's doing a bit of EQ, compression. There's a preamp in it as well, so it's giving it a bit of saturation. This, as well as the LA2A, were put on after we mixed and put in Homeboy's part, because Homeboy's verse was a bit more brighter and very compressed, so we had to match it. So some of the sounds and vocal effects that you hear from the last song are in this one. For example, this sound. It's tweaked slightly. The other one was a bit more drier. This one's got CLA vocals on it to just make it a bit more upfront. And then it's got a reverb, Valhalla reverb on it as well, to just push it back at the same time and put it in a different space. And then with Homeboy's verse, we really didn't do much. There's frequency at around 4K being dipped out. But other than that, it's just running through all the mix bus stuff that Ruben's vocals also going through. As you can see, even by the waveform, it's very compressed. And even in terms of the character of it and the EQ, we didn't want to change it too much because obviously that's the sound that his engineers got and they're happy with and it's been approved. So we're not going to change it completely. Otherwise, he might not like it. So we kept it, sounded good. There was just that one frequency that we notched out. Then we went back to Ruben's vocals, made it a bit more compressed, a little bit brighter, and now it sounds like they're sitting in the same space.